Shockwaves reverberating through the music industry after federal agents raided the LA and Miami homes of billionaire hip-hop mogul Sean Diddy Combs. Homeland Security conducted the armed raid in an alleged sex trafficking operation. TMZ later capturing Diddy pacing around a private Miami airstrip. Diddy wasn't arrested, but his phones were seized. And there's speculation tonight that he's fled the country. We can't confirm it. Just breaking tonight, though, Diddy's attorney is putting out a statement saying, quote, "There is no excuse for the excessive show of force and hostility exhibited by authorities. This unprecedented ambush, paired with advanced coordinated media presence, leads to a premature rush to judgment of Mr. Combs and is nothing more than a witch hunt." We believe the raid was triggered by a litany of lawsuits, including from his own ex, alleging abuse, rape, and sex trafficking. Diddy settled that one, but then 2 months ago, his former producer, Rodney Lil Rod Jones, filed an explosive lawsuit containing disturbingly graphic and disgusting details that not only implicate Diddy, but aim straight at the heart of the music industry. An elaborate racketeering, blackmail, and sex trafficking scheme that his lawyers compared to Jeffrey Epstein's. Now, for over a year, Lil Rod had unfettered access to Diddy's world, his homes, his planes, and his parties, where he claims he witnessed mountains of narcotics, illegal firearms, laced drinks, sex workers, and underage boys and girls. The producer claims he was groped by Diddy, groomed, and forced into humiliating sexual performances. Diddy's chief of staff, Christina Coram, is said to have been the Ghislaine Maxwell to Sean Combs, allegedly ordering her assistants to keep Mr. Combs high off gummies, pills, cocaine, and ecstasy, and maintaining a steady stream of sex workers for her boss. Now, some of the women brought into Diddy's orbit were under the age of 16. That's according to the complaint. The lawsuit claims he required the sex workers and underage girls to sign NDAs prior to entering his parties and prior to being drugged and sex trafficked at these parties. Diddy allegedly forced all of the women to drink laced De Leon liquor, as well as laced Ciroc vodka and champagne. His former bodyguard, Gene Deal, said this:
"Guys don't put those pills that they get to the girls in the champagne bottles because they popping them in front of. It's in the orange juice and it's in the cranberry juice. They done put the pills and the stuff in there, the roofies. Those girls who like the mixed drinks, they gonna pour their own sexual act because they don't understand it ain't in the bottles, it's in the juice. Those guys, they learn that and they put it to those girls who don't know no better."
Now, Diddy called these his freak-out parties. In attendance were celebrities, politicians, athletes, international dignitaries like British royalty, Prince Harry, and music label executives. Lil Rod claimed some of the biggest names in the recording industry sponsored these parties with sex workers, drugs, and underage girls. The CEO of Universal Music, Lucian Grange, is named as a defendant. So is the former CEO of Motown Records, Ethiopia Howard Mariam, and others. Lil Rod says hidden cameras were in every room of Diddy's homes. Lil Rod believes that Mr. Combs possesses compromising footage of every person that has attended his freak-off parties and his house parties. Salacious tapes of Hollywood's biggest names, including record CEOs and politicians, doing drugs and cavorting with prostitutes and minors. The complaint argues that these freak-off parties were a business model. Young and up-and-coming talent attended and were promised career opportunities and access to music executives. They were then plied with drugs and alcohol, filmed. Some were blackmailed. There was a quid pro quo, according to the complaint. Lil Rod said not only were these music executives sponsoring these parties, they were handing Diddy large sums of cash that he used to pay for the sex workers and drugs. Something tells me the IRS is going to be interested. The suit claims the defendants funded the sex trafficking venture and participated in the recruitment of victims. Now, if this is true, this is so bad. Famous artists like Usher, at the age of 13, were whisked away to Diddy's Puffy Flavor Camp.
I lived with Sean Puffy Combs for a year.
That's the crazy thing. Now, that was L.A. Reid's idea, right? We're sending you
New
over
York
to
City.
something called Puffy Flavor Camp.
There you go.
You were 13. What were you
I
seeing?
went there to see the lifestyle.
Right.
And I saw it. And it was, but I don't know if I could indulge and understand what I was even looking at. It was pretty wild.
So nobody tried to, some woman didn't come along.
I didn't say that.
Okay.
I didn't say that. What I did say is that there were very curious things taking place. And I didn't necessarily understand it.
Would you ever send your kid to Puffy Camp?
Hell no.
15-year-old Justin Bieber spent days with Diddy.
Right now, he's having 48 hours with Diddy, him and his boy. They're having the times of their lives. What we're doing, we can't really disclose, but it's definitely a 15-year-old's dream. I have been given custody of him, and we're gonna go full crazy.
Going crazy.
Crazy.
I'm taking this out tonight.
What you want to do?
Let's just go get some girls. Let's go hang out with some girls.
A man after my heart. That's what I'm talking about.
And we're not accusing Diddy of doing anything bad with Bieber, but Diddy's lifestyle was an open secret in the industry. People have been warning about this for years.
Now, I've had to turn down $50 million 4 times. 4 times. Just to protect my integrity and that virgin hole I was telling you about. Right. Because P. Diddy be wanting to party. And you gotta tell him no. You got to tell him no. I did. See, I got the receipts for everything I'm telling you.
Now, Diddy operated like he was protected. Mr. Combs made it clear that his head of security, Fahim Muhammad, had the power to make people in problems disappear. Fahim Muhammad, Diddy's head of security, was the former head of security for Michael Jackson, who was also accused of sexual deviancy. Diddy's head of security is accused of paying off law enforcement. The lawsuit claims Diddy bragged about getting away with shooting people. Diddy and his girlfriend at the time, J-Lo, weren't charged for that New York City nightclub shooting involving rapper Shine. Another shooting that Lil Rod alleges he saw was a shooting inside of Diddy's own studio that left blood in the restroom, where Diddy instructed Lil Rod to lie to the police by telling them that the victim was shot standing outside the studio by a drive-by assailant. The lawsuit has photos of this stuff. And after hours of forensics and police inside the room, no charges. Lil Rod claims he saw Diddy distribute guns from his bedroom closet to questionable individuals dressed in all black. Diddy alluded to having law enforcement in his back pocket. Lil Rod said the defendants bragged about murdering people and bribing witnesses and jurors. Inside of Diddy's mind, the lawsuit says he believes he's above the law and is untouchable. But it looks like Diddy's world's collapsing. Now, what we don't know is how many people he'll take with him, and whether we'll ever see the evidence the feds seized from his homes.
All of these big deviants is all catching hell in 2024. It's up for all of them. It don't matter if you Diddy or whoever you is. All lies will be exposed. That's all. In 30 years, I've done nothing but collect information, knowledge, and your secrets. So if you and a man was in a corner doing something you wasn't supposed to be doing, I know so many things I shouldn't know, and they all know it. They all know it.
Sex trafficking advocate Jaco Booyens joins us now. Jaco, your sister was trafficked in the music industry. What does this story tell you now?
Jesse, thank you for having me on. Yes, my sister Ilanka, her story of trafficking started in the music industry. She was trafficked over a 6-year period by a record label executive. The industry is rife with this. There's a lot of cover-up because people are, as you so eloquently state, surreptitiously filmed. They are blackmailed. Remember, human trafficking's definition is the exploitation of persons through the mechanism of force, fraud, and coercion, all of them present in this case.
The CEO of Universal Records. I mean, Universal Records it's the biggest record place in the whole world almost. I mean, they have so much talent that they've signed, and he's named as a defendant. and we're not accusing him of anything. We're reading from the complaint, but he is accused of participating in acts, in sponsoring acts, in paying for acts. And how high does this go?
It does go all the way to the top, Jesse, and unfortunately also all the way to the bottom. Remember, this is a crime that's fueled by demand, and the demand for sex trafficking in this country is out of control. But you talk about Universal. Remember, Universal has multiple labels underneath Universal, and something that's very interesting that's going to unravel here is when you start looking at the management companies that manage clusters of these artists. They work in groups. They ring fence themselves. They protect themselves. As Cat Williams so eloquently says, they have blackmail power on everybody. If you show up, whether you had good intentions or not, and you're at the party and there's minors in sexual activity, you're filmed, you get a knock on the door in the morning, and they tell you to hush hush, particularly politicians and executives.
Yeah, politicians, executives, athletes, a lot of up-and-coming musical talent. Do you see any similarities between the Epstein situation and this? Because Epstein was mentioned in this complaint.
A lot of similarities. The difference here is we're going to a place now where we never went with Harvey Weinstein. In the Weinstein case, you did not have as many people exposed and implicated. Epstein did a great job in protecting his world, and those in his world, albeit celebrity, they were not necessarily entertainers. They were people of stature in the financial services industry, politicians, people of power. Here you've got people in the entertainment business who normally have loose lips. And once they start talking, now it's going to get interesting to see which other artists come out. Some of the artists you've already mentioned tonight, how they're going to talk, their handlers, their managers, their personal assistants, because people always see, Jesse. We've known this about Diddy for decades. People see, they just haven't been talking, and now they're talking.
Yeah. Well, a lot of money going to law enforcement to pay them off, according to the complaint, which I just don't get when you hear about underage women being sex trafficked. It's just hellacious. Jaco, thanks so much, and keep up the fight.
Thank you, Jesse.